One of the things I've come to discover is that the statement that knowledge is power is very true.
Yes.
One of the mistakes we make is that we hear something and we start running with it without looking for reinforcement. So, for instance, if I go on YouTube, I don't just listen to one person and then conclude. I will listen to many people. I will read many books in order to find out the truth in what has been said. Truth be told, for those who say the Bible is the white man's book which he brought for us, if anything, he did us a good favor by bringing us the book. Because if you read the book very well and you understand it, it is meant to bring freedom to the person who has been held under. It is meant to lift up the person who has been despised. So if anything, for the African who was colonized and who was looked down upon and who was crushed down, the Bible is a tool to tell you, rise up. The only problem is that we have accepted the word and we have accepted their interpretation, which was used to manipulate. So we cannot throw out the baby and the bath water. What we need to do is we need to gain understanding of what is there. The other thing we need to also understand is that African tradition and Christianity, for that matter, I tend not to see too much of a conflict, because when you read scriptures carefully, Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave us his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus has everything to do with salvation. That doesn't cancel out most of the things that we know and are used to. For instance, we say Jesus, and so a lot of people think because of Jesus, angelic beings don't exist anymore. No. When Jesus found himself in a situation, the Bible said he received angelic assistance. So it tells you that the ministry of angels, which probably was a part of African tradition, is not cancelled because Jesus came into the scene. So when we begin to read and gain understanding, then we get to see all these things in a clear light. When the Bible speaks about serving a supreme God, as we know it in our tradition as well, all the Bible is saying is that we have access to this supreme being. We have access to this supreme being. So rather than going through all these other places, because again, some of these beings are manipulative. Some of these beings mean no good. Some of these beings are very vengeful. So he's saying, rather than going through the finance minister to come to me, or going through the head of so-and-so to come straight to me as the president. Let's talk. Once you get to understand that, then I believe that it takes away a lot of problems. But one of the things I believe in is that we need to study. Even the Bible, when people start arguing about the Bible, I laugh, because if you read it properly, you understand that it is actually giving you strength.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing I'm going to say, one of the things especially that people like to mention when it comes to religion or Christianity for that matter is the fact that they all speak about peace, but then most of the times they bring problems and war, and they're being this. African tradition is not exempt from that.
Yeah.
Because if there is one king, if I get his name right, I believe it was King Pinyanki. All right. During the time when they had the Nile worship in the Egypt area, one of the things he declared was a holy war in order to maintain the concept of Nile worship, which they had from the invaders. And this was a traditional African belief and practice.
Yeah.
You know, so it tells you that when somebody wants to protect what they have, they will wage a holy war.
Yeah.
So rather than throwing it out there and saying that this religion is bringing us problem, we must realize that it is not because it's bringing us problem, but when everybody wants to protect what they have, sometimes they will have to wage that holy war. Not to say that violence is acceptable, but when somebody's protecting their house, it's like, as I'm in my house, if an intruder comes in, I'm going to deal with them, regardless of being a pastor. I'm going to have to protect my household. I tell you, I'm going to have to protect my household. Do you understand? And so this becomes the cause of what we seemingly or seemingly comes to us, because we already hold the concept in our head, once that comes to life, we say, oh, they're violent. It's not because of that, but everybody wants to protect what they have.
Yeah.